Hello, I'm Luca De Giglio, and this is the Web3 in Travel podcast, where you can learn about crypto, blockchain, and how the new internet will change travel. What is the status of Web3 in travel at the end of November 2022? Now, if you've been listening to all the episodes of this podcast, probably you may skip this one. This episode is mostly for people who want to know how things are going but don't have time to listen to hours and hours of content. So this is going to be basically a synthesis of the last 6 months, 12 months, more or less. And after listening to this, you will have a basic idea of where we stand with the Web3 in travel. So 2022 has been a year of, I would say, generalized experimentation. We started off basically with Trips community trying to experiment with stuff, mostly NFTs, and there was not really much apart from what we were doing. There were the long-term projects, more on the centralized side, more on the kind of 2017-18 narrative, the decentralized or semi-decentralized or just a bit decentralized booking platforms. But in terms of experimenting, there was not much. And after the second half of the year, we've seen a lot more. So we are ending this year in an explosion of experiments, especially on the NFT side. So the tokens are a bit less central to the narrative, while a lot of projects and companies are trying to experiment with NFTs and smart contracts. So many of the projects I've analyzed are more decentralized in name than in reality. Because again, decentralization is a cost. It's not something you do because it's nice. You do it because it provides a base on which to create value. But itself, decentralization is costly and it's expensive, it's slow, it's difficult, etc., etc. So yeah, the narrative has been, especially during the bull run, tokens and blockchain and whatever, but then at the concrete level, not much. But at the same time, we have seen projects actually using NFTs and using smart contracts. And we didn't have this before. So in short, what is the state of Web3 in travel? Well, it's starting, many people are starting to play with this. Just to take it a bit, to zoom out a little bit, 2017-18, there were just a few, booking platforms, which very quickly realized it's really hard to decentralize all the aspects. So they centralized, for example, inventory. Where do we get inventory? Then everything was kind of slow for a couple of years. Last year, we started talking about NFTs. We at Trips Community started experimenting with NFTs. And a year later, many others have started experimenting with NFTs. Now, forgive me if my timing is not good. It's like my perspective is really personal. I may be wrong on timelines, but in general, what we can say for sure is that now there's many companies, many projects trying NFTs out. So we had this theoretical phase in which we thought how NFTs can represent, for example, bookings. And now we have companies actually doing it. Now, are they successful? Are they disrupting travel? No, we are really far from that. Really, really far. Not in the timeline, which is always hard to forecast, but far in the sense that, yes, they work. There's a little bit of usage, but I don't see yet a clear path to mass adoption. And you know what I think about this. The problem is always the wallet. People don't have, or not enough people have wallets. But yeah, so we went from a few experiments to many experiments, even high effort experiments, investments. People are spending money to try these things out. And as I was saying, tokens as a way to kind of, the superpower which tokens give compared to Web2 companies has taken a bit the backseat. I'm not sure why. Of course, when prices crash like they've been crashing for a long time now, nobody wants tokens because they're worthless. So when you say, I'm going to issue a token, please buy it, it's much harder to sell it. And on the other end, we have NFTs now, which are maybe more versatile in representing value and assets in the travel space, especially the bookings as NFTs theory is becoming practice. Many people are trying NFTs for bookings, and let's see what happens in 6 months time, if they're still going to use them, or if something else comes up, or if they completely stop because they realize NFTs are not a good way to represent anything in travel. I think they are a good way, and I think we're gonna see more and more experiments until we see some breakthrough. But again, this is forecast, so it has the value you want to give it. It's really hard to forecast stuff. So yeah, and a lot has happened in that respect, especially because it really feels like things are slowly picking up, because before there was really nothing or almost nothing. Right now we have a lot of things, and sometimes I wonder, are we finally leaving this phase, which I call the skeuomorphic phase, in which we use new technology in old ways? Are we, and it's a phase you need to go through. I talked about this in the past. It's like when the first electric bulbs were invented, we still made them in the shape of candles. And when we invented concrete, we still kept doing columns. It took us a long time before we could realize we didn't need columns, and we could do skyscrapers, for instance. So in this in the traveling industry, Web3 space, we are still skeuomorphic, or we've been skeuomorphic for a while, especially the alternative to Booking.com or to Airbnb, of which I'm guilty of, is pretty much skeuomorphic. So the old technology made big platforms possible. The new technology, okay, big platforms with cryptocurrency. And I think we're leaving this phase. Probably we are going into a more, I would say, almost like biologically a Cambrian explosion of ideas. I really hope we go there, in which we start trying things which are simply not possible in Web 2. Now, when a company tries to sell you bookings as NFTs, and then you can resell them on the secondary market, this is new. This is something Web 2, I would say, can't do, or maybe they can do, but it should be done inside their own marketplace, and maybe they don't have the incentive. So there you go, you got something new, right? Again, who knows if this new thing will work or not? We don't know, but at least we are trying new things. And as we go ahead, and we, even people from the travel industry who get into Web3 slowly understand the unique properties of Web3, they will come up with new ideas and they will try them out. So I'm expecting to see much more interesting things. Last year was interesting already. Again, it's still at least half skeuomorphic. It's still like trying to replicate things we have already with Web3 technologies. But, we are now seeing new things. There are models, business models, which Web2 has never tried, and Web3 is trying. That's already something. I think we're waiting for the first breakthrough. I mean, the first travel project which actually makes something completely different, which will signal to everybody that, wow, we can do something which wasn't possible before, and here it is, and there's product market fit, and people are using it. At least I'm waiting for that big breakthrough, which I haven't seen yet. I've seen companies going back a little bit, like from the complete decentralized approach because, again, they realized that 100% decentralized when most people don't have a wallet, it's really hard. So we've seen compromise across the board. And then we've seen native companies, I would say, native Web3 companies starting with a hybrid approach in which they say, okay, you can't onboard hotels with a wallet. It's just not going to happen. And if it happens, they're going to probably lose the money or whatever. So let's give hotels a Web2 interface. While there's on the other side a growing demographic of Web3 users, well, let them use the Web3 approach. And I said this many times, this is the only way we can do it today. The term which people use today is 2.5, Web 2.5, which is self-explanatory. I don't like it too much, but this is like aesthetic, and which means parts are hybrid, parts are decentralized. Now, maybe this is the only way for the moment. Maybe something else will come out. We don't know, but it's certainly important that people are trying to experiment also at this hybrid level. What else? What else is happening? Well, we are in the depth of the bear market. We had, yet another tragedy happening to crypto with the FTX debacle. We are waiting for others. We don't know how bad this thing is going to be, how other companies are going to be affected. I wouldn't be surprised if something big happens again. So this is kind of making only the builders stay. Like if you are writing code for a specific smart contract or a specific NFT based project, you don't really care too much about the price. What you care is that what you're building is actually useful. It doesn't matter if Ethereum is at $1,000 or $5,000, right? And so you focus on that. And because there's no all these enthusiasm around crypto and not everything is going up and everything is actually crashing, you're going to focus on making something people want. So you're not going to stop saying, oh my God, Ethereum, the Ether is $1,000. It doesn't work anymore. It works perfectly. Even gas is cheaper if you do these things on Ethereum, but there's not even the point. You still want to build something because the infrastructure is still there. It's getting stronger by the day. There's less, and I said this before, so pardon if I repeat, but this episode is for people who don't listen to all the other episodes. A lot of noise is going away. A lot of tourists have left. Tourists in the sense of people who come to crypto only after, every 3-4 years when prices go up, and then they leave when prices crash. So I'm expecting, I think in 2 days somewhere, someone is building the next big thing for travel. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next cycle is when things actually happen, or maybe before. Sometimes these really revolutionary projects launch in the bear market. People use them, but nobody talks about them because it's crypto. And then when the bull market starts again, everybody's talking about them and they become the next $1 billion thing, right? Anyway, me and many other people right now are focused on building stuff which the industry needs. The industry couldn't care less about crypto and Web3, right? We have some technology which they don't use, they don't know about, and we know that we could do things they don't even think about. So the best thing, the best outcome is to find something we can offer to the market. And if it's actually good, the market will pick it up. It doesn't matter if it's Web3, Web2, AI or quantum computers. It doesn't matter. If you do something which solves a problem and people are ready to pay for, well, then you have it. If it's a protocol which you want to launch for free, okay, fine. People are using email, even if you don't have to pay for it, right? So that's the focus right now. So that's the status of the industry. If you forget the noise and the prices and the crashes, it's constantly growing. I haven't seen any slowing down. The slowdown happens when money is tight, so there's no investment anymore. But again, how much of this investment we've seen in the last years was actually, did it make any sense? When there's so much money going around, people invest in anything. Especially this new breed of VCs who, they just want a token, they want it to go up 10x, 100x, and then sell it. They don't really care if the project is successful. Same thing you could say is about Silicon Valley, but because in Silicon Valley you had to wait for basically an exit, which means selling the company or doing an IPO, you kind of need a business model which works. You cannot fake it so much. In crypto, you can fake it very easily. I mean, you can get a 10x token even if behind the scenes there's nothing, as long as you're very good at marketing. So we are getting rid of those people. It was interesting also to see how many VCs invested in FTX, and that kind of proved that the due diligence was really bad. I mean, if you just had asked the right question or look at the right papers and things, you would have probably seen that FTX was rotten, and they didn't do it. The game played by FTX was a great social game at establishing credibility and kind of skipping due diligence. This was amazing to see, but this is not going to happen in travel right now. Nobody's going to invest in a crypto travel project unless there's something real there. And real probably means that it's actually working and people are using it. I don't know if for the next couple of years you can raise money on an idea or a nice team who built something in the past. This happens in the bull market. It's also true that there's a lot of money, capital which still needs to be deployed. So it could still happen that we'd see VC investing in useless projects, but for sure much less than before. So we're going to see a bit more concrete stuff. Something unrelated to travel, but which will affect Web3 travel a lot in the future, in my opinion, is a breakthrough done by Reddit and Instagram. So they basically managed to add NFTs to their platforms. And it's not a technical challenge. It's mostly difficult to show, to convince your users that NFTs are interesting. So when other companies like Discord in the past try to put, to add NFTs, or gaming companies try to add NFTs to their offerings, there was a lot of backlash because NFTs were perceived as speculatory, predatory, basically bad news for you if you were using your product, a game, etc. And it was amazing to see how, Reddit, for instance, launched the NFTs on Polygon, but simply by not calling them NFTs, but by calling them digital collectibles and giving an option to actually giving the default option to keep them in the app. So without forcing you to get a wallet, they had an incredible success. And the same thing was done by Instagram. So the travel industry can learn something here. So if NFTs are actually, good way to represent something like, again, bookings, we could basically offering them these NFTs to users without calling them NFTs, calling them digital collectibles in the case of Reddit, or maybe nights, whatever in travel, and then keeping them in the app, but giving also the option to move them to your own wallet. This seems to be working for the general public. And you may wonder, why do we have to force people to take self-custodies of NFTs? And the answer usually is, well, because if it's custodial, but then you got another FTX. Or you have another Mt. Gox, or you have another bank running like financial crisis in 2008, blah, blah, blah. The whole crypto space is based on self-custody, and I still think this is the way to go. But in the short term, because wallets are not ready for mass adoption, these solutions may actually bring some value. So let's say you want to sell NFT nights, you do it. You sell NFT nights. You actually create an NFT on the blockchain, but you keep it for your user. So if they lose access to the account, they just get a new password and get back into it. So you do custodial services, which is hard to do. but it's probably harder for your customer, for most of your customers. And then if your customer is a Web3 person, you just give away to claim them on their own wallet. This is new. This is something, it was theoretical until now. Yeah, okay, let's do some kind of custodial thing, but we hadn't seen this success at the Reddit level, Instagram level. Now we have proof that this approach can work. So that's where we could see some mass adoption, when we remove the difficulty of the wallet by taking away a little bit of freedom and giving a bit more security. And I wouldn't even call this less freedom, because you can take them on your wallet. You can withdraw these NFTs on your wallet, but it's an option. It's not anymore requirement. So as companies in the Web3, in travel space, see these things happening, they're gonna learn. They're gonna try the same thing. Now we see what works. Perfect. We do it too. Only we do it in travel. So adoption in general is growing. Adoption of this technology. Forget the prices. Things are really moving, and they keep moving all the time. What happens in the bear market? They don't make the news anymore. But there are news often in the bear market in which you say, wow, why nobody's talking about this? If that happened a year before, everybody will be, shouting about that. It's the bear market. Nobody believes in this stuff anymore. So it doesn't make noise. Great. More time for us to work, more time for us to concentrate on this. And good things are happening all the time. Now, on the bad things which can happen, we may have a very big regulatory backlash in terms of more regulations, which makes it hard even to experiment. But we'll see. I'm not into forecasting today. I'm into saying, I'm trying to say what is the state of Web3 travel. What the state of Web3 travel is: a growing experimentation, growing adoption. We are solving problems one at a time, and we're solving problems in parallel. So there's always, it's getting clearer and clearer where we should go and how things are going to get adopted at a massive level. So it's been a great year from that point of view. It's been a horrible year if you are an investor, or if you are a trader and you didn't, guess the right trades. It's been a great year if you are a builder, because you have this feeling that the whole infrastructure is getting stronger. There's more tools available. People are trying things, and some of these are successful, so we can learn from them. So, I would say it's been a great year from that point of view. And the question could be, is it a good moment to start something in Web3 in travel? I would say it's a very good moment. First of all, there's no more doubt that Web3 is going away. In 2018, you could have still had doubts. There was no really use case in general for crypto apart from Bitcoin. Now we know that there's just a lot of use cases just waiting to happen. And so there's a lot of use cases you can experiment on. Would you launch a startup today in Web3 in travel? This is the perfect moment. This is where, again, the whole noise goes away, harder to raise money. So, people won't give you money for two stupid things, probably, hopefully. So there's also a filter against yourself. Sometimes when somebody wants to raise money, let's raise the money and then we see if it works, right? It's not our money anyway. That's often the attitude. Now you really have to prove to the investors that this idea can go somewhere, which saves you from spending 2 years of your life on a completely useless idea. Okay, you can always pivot, of course, and that's kind of the point. We cannot afford to waste a lot of time anymore. People cannot afford to waste a lot of money anymore. So it's kind of, the game becomes a more adult and less childish. It's still a game because you're still betting on ideas, and you're still trying things which have 99% chance of not making it. But now the real players are around. You also are going to have better people around you. The good people are more accessible. So if you need advisors or programmers or whatever, they are going to be more reachable, so you can build better teams, etc. So yeah, great moment to start a project. Horrible moment if you think that you need to make money in 6 months. That's not going to happen, most probably. But it's a great moment to start doing something serious, to work on it for a couple of years, and then produce something which the travel industry needs. So what is the state of Web3 in travel? I would say great. I mean, great. I'm really, again, from outside, some people may have the impression that we are all desperate and all these bad things happen and everything crashed. Bitcoin at 16,000, Ethereum at 1,000. No, I mean, especially if you've done 1 or 2 winters, if you went through them, it is the winter, The winter means you can't plant too many seeds. You have to stay indoors. You have to warm yourself up. You live a different life in winter in cold countries, right? But you still live and you're still looking ahead, and the spring is going to come. So you cannot live in winter as you lived in summer, or you're going to get sick because it's cold, but you still live and you still work and you still produce. And actually, because there's less chances to go out and have fun, you work harder and more concentrate, etc. So again, great moment. It's been a great year. I don't know what to add. I'm full of positivity here. I don't know if it's just me. I mean, many people are not full of positivity. But again, this is the advantage you have when you have paid forward by living through a couple of winters. This doesn't affect you anymore, and you only see the opportunity in this. So I hope I gave you a good overview of the state of Web3 in travel in November 2022, and let's see what next year brings us.
All right, this is the end of today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. For more insights on Web3, follow me on Twitter at tripluca, TRIPLUCA, and see you next time.